Hey everyone, it's Miguel. So we just finished recording a very cool episode with Christopher Ward with Mike France. I think that went over very, very well. P. Ross, what was your feelings about him and about the new watch he introduced?
You know what? The new watch he introduced, I think, is great. You know
It's
what I
nice.
mean?
I mean,
For what you're getting at that price, really should be a lot more. You know what I'm
I
saying? And
agree.
Mike
I
France, as
agree.
a person, he's a great guy. And not
He's an
only that,
amazing guy. Yeah.
the work Christopher Ward is doing in the world is great. You know what I mean? From Tide to the Ukraine. And, all I can say is just check out this episode. You understand? We are the SoCal Watch Reviews podcast. Do you understand what that means? I don't
I
think
don't
you
think they
understand
do.
what that. I
I
don't
don't
think
think they
y'all
do.
understand what that means. You know what I'm saying? I am P. Ross. This is my guy Miguel. We are definitely in the building. We have the greatest watch podcast and the greatest guest of all time.
Facts. Facts.
So,
With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. It was a fun one to record, and we look forward to speaking to Mike again and hopefully
absolutely.
owning some Christopher Ward watches in the future. So, with that said, without further ado, enjoy this episode. Hey everyone, how's it going? I am Miguel from the SoCal Watch Reviews podcast. I hope everybody's having a beautiful day wherever you're listening or watching from. Today I am joined by two special guests, but let me introduce my co-host, Mr. P. Ross. How are you, buddy?
Yo, what's going on? How you doing, Miguel? We are in the building. The SoCal Watch Reviews podcast is in full effect.
That's right, man. A lot of heat over here in California. We were just talking off the recording. You said it's beautiful in Ohio, right?
Yes, right now. But I think it's supposed to rain later on. But like for the last few days, it's been like perfect.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. All right. Well, I can no longer wait to bring this guest in. We've had him before, but I'll let you do your thing, P, and we'll go from there.
Yo, right now, we have a guy, okay? Look, he's smiling. He's feeling good about it.
He knows. He knows what's coming.
He's getting hype. You know what I mean? And we like that. You know what I mean? We have the co-founder of Christopher Ward in the building, Mr. Mike France. Let's go. Yeah.
Oh, P. I ought to employ you on a full-time basis. Nobody,
hey, you know what?
Nobody introduces like you introduce.
I'll take that check for sure. Yes,
it's good to see and hear you.
Just send me the contracts.
Likewise.
It's in the post, guys. It's in the post.
Yeah.
So, third time, huh, P? We've had Mike 3 times. That's awesome. Mike, how you been? How's everything?
I've been well, thanks, guys, and really pleased to be back. Heard you talking about the weather over there. It's probably warmer in the UK at the moment, where it's a bit of a heat wave, a drought.
Wow.
It's about 35 degrees Celsius here, so very unusual.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy all around the world. Is just that you keep hearing reports, global warming, and this and that, and whoever doesn't believe in that, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, here in the US, everything's about politics, right? You can't talk about anything because then it reverts back to politics. So if you talk about global warming, it's about politics, which is not, but whatever. But without further ado, gentlemen, what is on the wrist? Mike, you are our guest. What are you? I saw, oh, look at that. That's cool.
I'm wearing our C60 Ukraine, which was a 300-piece limited edition that we brought out back in April, with all the profits going to the International Red Cross for their efforts in the Ukraine, which is, and we raised, with the help of our suppliers who also reduced the cost of components for the watch, we were able to raise just short of £120,000 sterling. So what's that about?
Wow.
$170,000. So we're really pleased.
Wow.
With that.
You know, that's cool. That's cool. You know, Mike always come on here with some funky on. You know that?
I like
he
that.
Always come. Remember he had on the jumping hour last time?
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
He always come on with something nice on. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, and not only that, I really appreciate what Christopher Ward always does, right? It's they're very connected to the community, which what we're going to talk about, and I mean that's a direct thing that there's a connection there, a link. But I love that you guys do the Tide, right, and what you're doing for Ukraine, and just you're so involved in the world, things that are going on in the world, as opposed to other watch companies that they're all about money and marketing, and that's kind of they're so it feels disconnected, and you guys feel different, and that's why I always appreciate Christopher Ward, and we love to support you because you support the world. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely,
and that's a cool looking watch.
Yeah, it's a cool watch, and we last week actually we recently begun sponsoring a Premier League football club called Everton.
Right.
And they have a Ukrainian player who joined Everton back in January, just before the outbreak of the war. And actually, when we launched this limited edition, one of our customers, one of our fans, a guy I've known for a long time called Mark Wallace, he and his family had just taken in 3 refugees from Ukraine into their home in the UK.
Okay.
And the young man, Dan, as we've come to know him, was just turning 18, and Mark wanted to buy him one of these watches to celebrate his 18th birthday.
Okay.
The problem was, when Mark contacted me, these had already sold out. I mean, they sold out in literally hours, which is a testament to the generosity of Chris Ford customers, I think.
Right.
Anyway, we were able to source one for.
Nice.
And 2 weeks ago, there was a match. Everton played Dynamo Kiev, the big team from the Ukraine, at Everton's ground, and we were able to arrange for the watch, Dan's watch, to be given to him, presented by Everton's Mikalenko on the pitch at the game. So it was a very emotional moment. So it was
cool.
a really important day for everybody, and they were incredibly touched by it all.
Wow, what an incredible 18. I mean, it's an incredible gift, but to turn 18 and everything that's going on in the world, and it's wow. Roller coaster of emotions. That's for sure. P. Ross, what are you wearing on the wrist, man?
It's Seiko Sunday. I'm wearing Seiko 5.
Okay, classic.
Reference number.
Yeah, real classic.
Reference number 70093121.
God, that is a long reference number.
Was that from memory, P?
Yes.
No, he's probably looking at another screen. Right?
That's impressive. That's impressive.
No, I just put it on my Instagram post earlier this morning.
So you remember?
Kind of fresh in my head, you know what I mean? So
wow. Well, I have a piece in for review from our friends over at Christopher Ward. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know what's over my light, but it's the C65 Aquitaine bronze with the blue dial and the blue strap.
A great watch.
Nice.
Oh my God. It is a beauty. It is a beauty. And I reviewed this watch, and I mean, to think that this is a sub $1,500 watch with a cost movement, and it has those kind of Blancpain 50 fathoms of vibes to it, right? With that bezel. Amazing what you guys are doing at Christopher Ward, Mike.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's something else, isn't it? It really
is. It's a beauty. It's a beauty.
You know what? I think people only really appreciate the Aquitaine when they see it and they wear it.
Right.
It gives off a certain vibe when it's on your wrist, and it's
absolutely.
I think it's arguably our most beautiful watch.
It's beautiful, yeah. And you know what? Something that I really come to appreciate, and I know in our first kind of talks, I wasn't too familiar with it because I hadn't really experienced your watches. But now that I have, this is the 4th watch I've gotten to experience that like Hetra case. It's oh my God, it fits perfect. It's beautiful to look at. It feels great on the wrist. And look, to anybody listening and watching, I'm not just saying this because Mike is here. I genuinely do like Christopher Ward watches. I kind of asked myself why I haven't picked one up for myself or for my collection. And to be honest, there's so many that I want that I've been having a hard time deciding which one I want. that's the honest truth. That's the honest truth. But I definitely want to have one in the collection, especially because I know the owner and we've collaborated with them. And that's the beauty of I don't want to say micro brand, of more independent watch brands, that you get to know the people on top, right?
Absolutely.
I got some nice pieces in the collection, right? Omega, whatever. I probably would never speak to the owner. Maybe, I mean, I don't know if he comes on the show, but it's not the same. It's not the same, right? We're not connected in that same level. And that's what I appreciate about Christopher Ward and other smaller brands, that you get to know who the owner is. You're part of the, I don't want to say community, I want to say family. You become part of the family, you know?
Yeah, but it works both ways, Miguel, because it's a pleasure always to talk to people like yourselves. And so I think it cuts both ways. And it's, people who are interested and enthusiastic about watches are a breed apart, actually. And this sort of camaraderie, this sort of friendship,
Right.
is part of what goes on in our world. And it's one of the things that makes it a very special industry, I think.
And I was speaking to my brother-in-law yesterday. I'll keep it brief because I want to get into what you're here for, to talk about the new watch. But I was speaking to him, and he's not a watch guy, right? But he knows I'm into watches. And we're talking about the luxury sector, right? From Louis Vuitton to Mercedes-Benz, and of course, watches and everything in between. Yeah. But I was telling him that the interesting thing about our community that people don't know is how close we are, right? And the cool thing about it is that in the car world, and I was in the car world, everybody's kind of weird, right? If you don't have a Ferrari, if you don't have this, they really won't talk to you, right? Everybody has their own little groups. In the watch community, it's not like that. Because you could own multiples, right? You could own everything from an independent micro brand to a Patek Philippe. And depending on the person, of course, there's snobs out there. But for the most part, I found that everybody's super nice, and everybody's welcoming, and everybody's willing to help, and everybody's willing to talk to you. We've had so many people on the podcast that are CEOs of a company, and they're people running YouTube channels, and just collectors that don't even have a social media. I mean, and we connect because of watches. It's so beautiful. They just don't understand until you're in the community, then you understand.
I think that's right. I think that's absolutely right.
Absolutely. But Mike, we're super excited. You got something new coming out. It seems like you guys got new and innovative things coming out all the time, but this is exciting. I was going over the specs and the pricing, and I was just like, wait, this, there must be a typo for what you get for that price. It must be a typo. This is incredible. So why don't you? Yeah, I'm serious. I'm like, what the heck? That's crazy. So why don't you walk us through it, and
Sure.
kind of let us know what you got coming?
Yeah, with pleasure, Miguel. And maybe, hopefully, this will be the watch that tempts you to get one into your collection. But
okay,
what I want to talk to you about is the C60 Trident Pro 300, which is our latest dive watch.
Right.
And it's interesting on a whole host of dimensions, but perhaps the most interesting aspect is the way it evolved. Because this takes me back to the start of the pandemic, around about May 2020, and we were beginning to plan Trident 4, the next generation of Tridents. Because the cycle is 4, 5, 6 years, and so we had planned to bring it out in May 23. Actually, those plans have changed, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second.
Okay.
But as part of the design and development process, we're very lucky that we have a forum dedicated to us, the Chris Ward Forum, which has been around now for 60, 70 years or more, has tens of thousands of members. Incredible community in its own right. Although we never used to own it, we now own it because the guy who started it, guy called Hans van Hoekstraten, after 10 years or more operating this by himself with his own money, I think his wife said, "Oi, enough's enough." So he said, "Would we like to purchase it off him?" We said, "Well, yeah, it'd be a great shame if this forum didn't continue because of what you've done, but we don't want to, and we'll purchase it from you. And he gave it to us at a silly low price. It was more that he wanted it to continue than he wanted to make any money out of it. But what we said is we wanted it to remain completely independent, that we would have no editorial control whatsoever. Okay. And one of his lieutenants, an American guy called Kip McEwen, took the reins over from Hans and has been the senior moderator ever since. Anyway, we were constantly in touch with the forum, and I constantly in touch with Kip. And as part of our development, nearly on most things now, but particularly with something as important as the Trident collection for us, we decided we would ask the forum for their input. And the question being, look, guys, what is it that would make your perfect dive watch? We'd like to make it. They came back they filled in, hundreds and hundreds of them filled in a very detailed questionnaire. Kip and his fellow moderators coordinated all of the answers with a big presentation to us. And I suppose I could distill it down into 4 big things.
Okay.
One, they wanted a Trident that was going to be slimmer, less height. Okay. Second, no shock to anybody who loves watches. No surprises here. We'd like even more lume, please.
Yes.
More lume. Yeah. So that was good. Third, they wanted an exhibition case back. They wanted to see the movement. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And fourth, they wanted a new bracelet with screw links rather than pin links.
Okay. Yeah.
So they were the big 4 issues that they wanted that would help make their perfect dive watch. So what do we do? So we've taken all of that on board. I'll come on to aesthetics in a second, because we also moved the aesthetics on quite a long way as well. But slimness, the height, we've taken nearly 2 mil out of the height on the 42 millimeter version. It comes in 38, 40 and 42 millimeters, this watch. And it anything from sort of 1.65 millimeters less height to 1.9 millimeters less height. So that's around about a 15% reduction in the height.
Insane. Yeah.
We used the very best quality lume money can buy. So how would we get more lume? So the designers designed deeper, broader indexes. So the other way of getting more lume is by applying more into indexes.
Right.
So we filled it with more of the best quality GLX1 Superluminova. We've got a case back that is a sapphire crystal case back, so you can see the SW200 movement through it. And for a lot of people, but a lot of people as well who are maybe just coming into watches, they love to see the movement. I love to
see the movement.
Yeah, I think we all do in a way, don't we? But I think it especially plays well to people who maybe didn't even know what mechanical watches were, and begin to really gain an appreciation of these marvelous precision pieces of engineering when they see it through a sapphire caseback. So we did that, and then in many ways the piece de resistance is the bracelet, because the watch that you have, the Aquitaine, although it's not on a bracelet, I know, Miguel, but we developed a new bracelet for the Aquitaine. Did a number of things, but primarily we put there's a big clamor for us to go to screwed links, and we've resisted this. I mean, in absolute honesty, there is no people assume it's a quality thing or a price thing. It's not. The reason we insisted on pins previously is because, which is just as good a solution as screwed links, is we didn't want to encourage people to unscrew their links and change the links themselves, because often they will damage their bracelets in the process. Right. They'll scratch the bracelets. However, the clamor has been loud for so long, and eventually we said, okay, look, we'll do it. For the Aquitaine, we introduced the pretty standard solution in the watch industry, which is screws either side. Yeah.
Right.
Which is actually quite hard to you need to be doing the two simultaneously.
Right.
To actually take a link out and then put back. So it's not the easiest of solutions. And we still recommend people take it to a jeweler or a watchmaker to have it done, or send it back to us if necessary. Although we size bracelets before we send them out if that's what people want. However, we did not stop at the Aquitaine. We had been working. We'd been trying to get our bracelet manufacturer, to agree to deliver the same solution that Rolex has, which is a single screw. Yeah.
Yes.
And when it came to production for the Aquitaine, they were still saying to us they couldn't do it. And the reason they said they couldn't do it is the tolerance levels that are required to allow you to go to a single screw on links are so fine that they were very concerned about the number of rejects they would have, and that would put their manufacturing costs up, which would ultimately put our costs up, etc. However, our engineers worked with them, and to their credit, they have now, for the Trident Pro 300, produced the Rolex solution. And that means that the tolerances that we're working to on those screws are 0.03 of a millimeter.
Wow.
That is 3 microns. That is a third as wide as a human hair.
Wow.
A human hair on average is about 0.8, 0.9, 0.8, 0.9. Our tolerances on these bracelets are down to 0.03. So this is and it's very rare. I mean, Rolex do it, actually Tudor do it, because they're using the same solution as Rolex, but they don't use the same manufacturer. And Tudor's solution, although it's a good solution, the tolerances aren't as fine as ours.
Wow.
And if you get hold of a Tudor bracelet, you'll see that the screw heads are slightly recessed. They're just unvariable, and so the tolerances are not as great as ours. So in addition to that new tolerance on the bracelet, we've also improved in the Trident 300 bracelet the quick release system, which we were one of the pioneers of. We've further enhanced it to make it even easier.
Nice.
We've also added 2 millimeters to the micro adjustment. So it was an 8 millimeter micro adjustment. It's now 10 millimeter micro adjustment. And it has that beautiful now new taper from 18 down to 16.5 millimeters.
Wow.
So I think, if I'm honest, the bracelet is one of the stars of the show. However, and I'm very excited about it, as you can tell, because I think I think the guys who worked on this, including the manufacturer, really pushed the boat out and worked really hard to produce something of true excellence. And sometimes bracelets don't get the sort of coverage they deserve to have, because they're very difficult pieces of fine engineering in their own right. And on a dive watch, some 70%, anything between 60 and 70% of all dive watches are bought from a bracelet. So it's a critical component of any dive watch.
Right.
However, in addition to that, aesthetically, the Pro 300, we've put a steel insert into the bezel, into the ceramic bezel, which gives it a kind of a really sort of, it's just a sort of a more sophisticated looking bezel mark. It's something that we had introduced with the C60 Tide, actually, and it's so loved by everybody that we thought that's something we'll take out, as well as the sort of refined index is slightly larger. Of course, this is the first Trident to have our twin flags logo at 12.
Yes.
And the date window at 6. So you're getting that vertical symmetry that is now becoming an important signature of ours. And actually, in the research that we got back from the forum, the twin flags only was one of their loudest requests. What they didn't know is that we were already planning it, but it's certainly gone down really well since we introduced it. And in addition to that, and this will be for real sort of fans, the second hand, we've dismissed the roundel and we've gone with a narrow head. Again, part of the Trident language is triangles and arrows, and that's now been introduced onto the second hand as well.
See.
It also makes it easier to read, but that's a secondary thing, if I'm honest. We wanted to get the continuation of the design language of Trident further enhanced with the new Pro 300. So it's come down in size. It's now, I'm afraid to say, to do that, we had to reduce the water resistance. So now it's only at the level of a Seamaster.
It's only 300 meters.
Yeah, it's only 300 meters.
Oh, man.
Somebody tells me that's 38.8 London buses deep.
That's crazy.
So you're more likely to explode than your watch if you go down to 300 meters. So we're very excited by this watch. And then with all of that, because it's got less metal, you take the width of your watch down, even though it's still got the beautifully refreshed and renewed light catcher case, still our signature, still a wonderful case. Great lug to lug measurements. I think on the 42 it's just over 49 mil, so it'll sit beautifully. In addition to all of that, because there's less metal, it costs us less, so we're able to reduce the price.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
This comes out at £100 more than $100 less than the Pro 600. So, and in these times, which we're all going through, it doesn't matter which country you're in at the moment, there's one form of cost of living crisis or another going on. I think it'll be particularly well received that the price is coming down despite all of these improvements. So that's it, really. That's the Trident Pro 300. It's coming in three sizes: 38, 40, 42. The 40 and the 42 have 4 colorways. Our first ever green bezel, green dial version, which is, I think, going to be a riot. A blue, a white, and a black. So it's we're starting with those 4 colorways.
Amazing.
I've witted on a lot there, haven't I? I'm sorry.
No, it's incredible.
It's all good.
So just to recap, I mean, it comes. I'm looking at the press here on my computer, and I'm looking at so to recap, 3 sizes: 38 millimeters, 40 millimeters, and 42 millimeters. All of them with obviously 300 meters of water resistance. All of them, according to the press, release 4 colors, like you said, right? White, black, blue, and green. And all of them Sellita SW200-1 movement.
Correct.
Of course, 38 hours of power reserve. So lug to lug on the 38 is 45 millimeters. On the 40 is 47.46 millimeters. And on the 42 is 49.32 millimeters. And all of them are sub 12 millimeters thick. Incredible. And then the prices start off at, and I'll use dollars, start off at $865 for the smaller version, all the way up to a little over $1,000, $1,050, which for what you're getting, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Awesome. I want to get back to that bracelet.
Yeah.
How did that affect cost versus prior releases?
So say again, please. Sorry.
How did the bracelet affect the cost of the watch versus prior releases?
The bracelet is more expensive. It's the watch head where the price has come down.
Okay.
And so the price has come down more on the watch head than the cost of the bracelet has gone up. But for all of those improvements in the bracelet, I think the bracelet's gone up maybe $35, something like that. But you're getting honestly, we've always had a good reputation for bracelets. We're blessed because Jörg Bader, who is one of my colleagues, and he runs our atelier in Beale. Jörg started his career in watches maybe 45 years ago now, and he actually started in bracelets, and Jörg invented, and this is absolutely true, the butterfly clasp on bracelets.
No way! Wow, a good guy to have on your team.
He's a good guy to have on our team. He wishes that he'd got the IP for it, but he didn't.
Wow!
And he'd have been a very, very wealthy man. So he was working for a Japanese company at the time, who and the bracelets were being made in Japan. So he is amongst some of the most knowledgeal people of bracelet manufacture in the world. I mean, there aren't many people with his level of experience. So we've always had a real insight into how to create wonderful bracelets, and our bracelet manufacturer is one of the best in the world. He manufactures for many other much more expensive brands than we, but we're always looking to improve. Yes, it's a good bracelet, but how can we improve it? And even when the Aquitaine bracelet came out, this drive towards getting and there's no question, the Rolex bracelet is the gold standard. You have to take your hat off to these guys. Their level of engineering excellence is unbelievable, and so we literally aspire to be as good as they are at some of their engineering. If you remember the bezel click, we've now got on all of our dive watches. We effectively checked every single, well, when I say every single, probably 40 or 50 brands, very preeminent brands who had bracelets and bezels, and listened and recorded their bezel clicks, and actually went into stores and convinced assistants to let us play with the bezel and record them, and we discovered that the best out there was Rolex. We believe now we're the second best, and we're still improvement gained in our bezel movement and our bezel action, and that's one of the things that I'm hoping we'll bring forward for Trident 4, which has moved back now from May 23 to May 24, because something came in that's going to be launched in May 23 that is going to blow you out to the water. It's going to be
really
amazing.
cool.
Yeah. So
Looking
we
forward
just
to it.
so that's going to be a really big launch.
That's
Cool.
incredible.
What's up?
That's incredible. Well, two things I want to mention about this watch and some of the watches that I've seen is I love the logo. I know in the very first episode we had you, we had to talk about the logo just because it's the first time we had you. I love the logo. Like, honestly, just no words on the dial. Well, I mean, it has words, some other information, but the logo just with the twin flags or the racing flags, it's awesome. And also I love the date wheel is matched to the color of the dial, and I think those little small details go a very long way, So I think this is going to be a hit. I think this is going to be a hit. This is the white one looks beautiful. The white one looks beautiful.
Yeah, the white one is really good, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I might have to save up for the 38 because that's my sweet spot right there. The 38, the smaller, just slimmer, and I need to check out that bracelet. I mean,
let me know when you want to pull that trigger,
Miguel.
Miguel, when you want to pull the trigger, let me know.
I need your signature on the box, like my friend Miguel. I don't do this for anybody. For Miguel, I'll do it. Give me his box.
Absolutely. Yeah. Gotta get you a CW.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I'll put it on record. I think this is one I might consider picking up, but I will definitely pick up one or two or more Christopher Wards in my collection. I currently don't have any micro brands or independents in my collection. I got rid of everything. I just had too much. But Christopher Ward just keeps coming back. And not only that, the more connection we have, like I said, it feels almost like, I don't want to say family, but it almost feels like family, like having you on so much and working with your team and having to, seeing your watches in the metal, if you will. It just makes it more personal for me, So, and I encourage anybody out there, if you haven't had a chance to check out Christopher Ward, I highly encourage you to do so. Now, I guess let me ask you, if people want to check out a watch, but they don't want to purchase it, is there anywhere in the US they can go and check it out, or they just have to purchase it?
Not at the moment, Miguel, no. I mean, people should remember we introduced when we started a 60-day free returns policy.
That's right.
Which is still in the world of watches the best returns policy there is, and genuinely, has provided people don't wreck the watch in the 60 days. If for any reason people don't like that watch, they send it back and we give a full refund. So it's really risk-free to buy from us. And I have to say, it's not a great risk for us, because the vast majority of people, when they have a Christopher Ward on their wrist, they don't want to send it back. So, and that was the bet we made back in 2005. So although some people may never have heard of us, and it's an online only brand, and sometimes that sounds like risk, and particularly if it's in a different country, but genuinely, you can buy from us risk-free. And if you look after the watch, you don't have to worry about if you don't like it for any reason, you just send it back. But I'll bet mostly you'll want to keep it.
Cool.
I agree.
So out of the different variations that you have of this watch, which one is your personal favorite?
Ooh.
Like if you had to sell one to me right now, which one would you sell?
I would sell you the white white 42 mil on the orange tropic rubber strap. Just because I think it's a great statement piece. It just looks really, really cool. And I love a tropic rubber strap. I don't know if you dive, P. Ross, yeah?
I swim, I don't I swim.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Swimming's okay. Swimming's okay.
No.
But if, nobody dives with I dive, and I dive with a computer. But I always have a Christopher Ward on, and I will definitely be wearing that orange 42 mil tropic rubber strap with the white face dial when I go next go diving.
Wow,
yeah, I'm really feeling that one. I'm feeling that.
That's the one I was feeling too.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I would like to if I owned it, I would need to own it on the bracelet. I mean, you just sold me.
Well,
on the
you swap out the bracelet. Yeah, I mean, hey, you've got to buy the bracelet as well, because when you're looking to impress and you're dressing up a bit, then that bracelet is, and especially that now 16.5 millimeter taper, it just adds that just touch of sophistication that
I agree.
Is it just I love it. The guys have done a great job. They did a great job.
Yeah, I agree. Well, guys, girls, definitely go check this out. I haven't seen it in the metal, but I've seen enough Christopher Wards to know that this is going to be good. And it's like Mike said, if you pick one up, risk free, but chances are you're not going to return it, because it's a really good looking watch. And not only that, there's something about the way it feels on your wrist and on hand that you could tell it's quality, right? And for the price, it's just incredible, because when you compare it to the big boys out there, and you hit a really good point, right? We strive to be like the big boys, right? Like the Rolex, but you got to look at what they're charging, right? Their watches are not cheap, and good luck anyone, right? But with Christopher Ward, not only can you get one, but you're not going to break the bank, right? You could actually afford multiples, right? And go through the Christopher Ward website and pick up multiples for
Yeah,
the price of
these
one Rolex.
these are watches to wear, Miguel. These are not watches to flip. You know, these are watches people wear, and they don't think of them as investments. They think of them, although in reality, if you can get hold of a concept, which was
wow,
C60 concept that we brought out last October. These are going for some incredible numbers now.
That's the skeletonized, right?
That's the skeletonized, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man, look at that.
Oh, that is nice.
Wow.
I like
I see. I seen that one. Yeah.
And that's going for all sorts of numbers now, but because it was only a 200 piece limited edition, it sold out, as you know, very quickly. But
that was like 4,000 something, right? I mean, it was
I struggle sometimes to remember the dollar prices, but it would be just over 4,000. In pound sterling, it was 3,750. We've got a not a concept coming out in this October, but something that I think will shock a few people, because it's probably, arguably, our finest hour in horological terms. The boat has really been pushed out. This was a complex watch to deliver, primarily because we worked with Armin Strom and we worked with Crenode on the finishing. So this is our own movement, our own in-house movement, SH21. Armin Strom created the bridge work for us, and Crenode did all the finishing. And so you're talking about people who work with, Grubel Forsey. I mean, watches of 50, 100,000, 150,000. I mean, I think, and we're good friends with Armin Strom. They think we're completely crazy selling stuff at the price we sell it at, but their atelier is exactly 7 minutes walk away from ours, and we've become quite close. And so we've worked with them on this new watch that we're bringing out in October, as well as Crenode again. So you're talking about something of the very, very highest finish and quality, very, very high. I mean, I'm talking the nearest watch we can find that's equivalent to it is retailing at about 48 to 50,000 Swiss francs.
Wow.
Okay. And we'll be selling it at something similar to this. So look out for that one, because you won't have seen it will be a surprise. You won't expect us to be doing the watch that we're doing. We like
limited production. Is it limited production, or
it'll be a limited run of 300 in the first instance, but I think it'll have legs beyond that. I think we may already be working on the next version, the next limited edition, but it's something very, very, very special, and as I say, arguably our finest hour. And there's a sort of a clue in that, but I can't. It's a tease that I can't give you any more.
That's fine.
As you can see, for those who's watching this podcast, we always dropping jewels on here. You know what I mean?
Yep. And bring you exclusives,
the exclusive stuff. You know what I mean? Not that rinky dink. Whatever, we got the exclusives right here with Christopher Ward. Okay, Mike France in the building.
That is an exclusive.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's incredible. Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming on and sharing this new watch with us. You're obviously welcome on the show anytime to promote anything you want. I personally, I'll speak for P. Ross too, because I know him. He's a friend. We do love Christopher Ward. The designs, what you do. It's always cool when I get an email and I'm like, oh, look what they're doing now, right? With Tide or with with the Ukraine and stuff like that. I think it's remarkable. And the pieces are beautiful. I know my friend P. Ross checked out for a while and he loved it. The Moonglow. Right, the someone Moonglow. I love that thing too. That thing is classic.
I had to send it back, unfortunately.
That thing is a classic.
Ross. Oh.
I had to send it back. So
it is a beautiful watch.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, but mark my words. Like I said,
feel my heart.
Words. It was a nice watch.
Yeah,
It does.
It was a
And
nice watch.
it's always a pleasure for me to talk to you guys, because you're just so enthusiastic about watches in general, never mind Christopher
Absolutely.
Ward in particular, and it's just a pleasure. So thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I will be looking at picking up my first Christopher Ward as well. So
You ought to, P. Ross. Let me know.
yeah, for sure.
Oh, we
I
will.
will.
No, we will. We'll make
Absolutely.
a big deal about it. and that's the thing, right? Picking up any watch. I mean, you go on the internet and just pick anything up, but this to me is a little more personal, right? Because it's like we're talking
Right.
to the guy, and it's like, hey, man,
Yeah.
I'm picking this one up. I know you deal with a bunch of people and a bunch of orders, but I think this should be special because this is me standing behind you 100% saying I believe in what you're doing. Not that we don't now, even if we don't own a Christopher Ward, we still do, but
Oh,
you
always.
putting your money behind it, it's different. So
Yeah, no, I understand and I appreciate it, and I would love you guys to be owning a CW. Really would.
absolutely, we definitely want to be officially be part of the CW family. So,
Fantastic.
but yeah, Mike, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to speaking to you again and looking forward to that release. Now you left me thinking, what are they releasing? I mean, come on. Yeah, but anyway,
you
thank
haven't
you
got
so
long
much.
to wait. It's out in October. You haven't got long.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, Mike. We appreciate it. And talk to you soon, I guess.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Well, that was something. P. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot.
What a great conversation. Yeah.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. That was a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know what you think about Christopher Ward watches. I don't think enough people maybe have checked them out yet.
Right.
I don't know. But I personally have checked them out. P. Ross has personally checked them out. A lot of people we know have checked them out, and we have yet to hear anybody say, well, it's good, but everybody that we talk to goes, for the price, this is good. This is really good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Check out C-Dub.
Yeah.
They got
And
that fire.
honestly, this new collection, people, what do you think about it? I mean, I just can't believe you're getting this much for this price. And what I like about, I don't know what I like.
Engineering in the
engineering.
bracelet.
Exactly.
The engineering in the bracelet is like, yo, second to Rolex, as he was saying. You know what I mean?
Well, so I'll add to that. So something I wanted to say is that, look, I've personally checked out a lot of Michael Brown watches, right? And what I ran into, and it's funny, is I'll get two watches that have different design, but the bracelet looks exactly the same. It has the same markings, it has the same everything. So it's like, okay, this came from the same manufacturing, right? Not that there's anything wrong with those bracelets, but it's more like a catalog order. And I'm not going to throw any brands under the bus, but I've spoken to enough people where they go, yeah, you just basically pick what you want. You change the design head of the watch a little bit, right, to your liking. But for the most part, everything is already there, available. But Christopher Ward, and this is why I don't consider them a micro brand, even though some people call me out in my last episode or my last video and said they're not an independent. It's like, well, they are, in my opinion, they are an independent because they invest a lot of money into R&D and improving their watches, yet not passing that cost on to you. And that's very evident in this watch, right? It's like he paid more, but he's not charging you more. And for him to say that same, and for a CEO of a company, an owner of a company or co-owner of a company to come on a public, forum or podcast and say, we are second to Rolex, that's a bold statement. That's a very bold statement. So,
but it's a believable one, though. You see what I'm saying? It's definitely
absolutely. Especially the guy behind this team, guys, is the guy that invented the butterfly clasp. I mean, mind blown when he said that. I was like, wait, what?
Right.
I mean, this is the guy on his team. So I could only imagine what this watch feels like. And I mark my words, I think I want to get maybe two for review. I'll try to get a 38 and a 40 for review.
Right.
And if I like either one of them, I'll keep it, because I'm a man of my word, and I really do like the look of this light catcher case and the seconds hand, the date window at the 6 o'clock.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a clean looking piece, and for the price, for the movement, for this was made by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Case in point.
Right. And as he
That's
said, they're watches to wear. They're not watches for investment.
Absolutely.
And when to be honest, our watches should be to wear.
But unfortunately, you can't.
You can't.
Unfortunately, you can't. You know, there's some pieces that are just too valuable, right? From a perspective of monetary perspective, or vintage pieces, right? Like, I know you wear them all the time, but I personally, I'm scared, right? Because of the water resistance.
Yeah, I just feel like these things need to be worn, just like shoes. Like,
I agree.
If I get a pair of all white Air Force Ones, I'm gonna dog them, and I'm gonna wear them until I can't wear them no more. You know, hopefully I don't wear my watches out like that, but you know, but they're meant to be worn and adorned and looked at, and you know.
But the cool thing about something like this, it's a tool. It was built for a purpose. You get the sapphire crystal, the sapphire bezel, plenty of
and
lume.
the extra lume, extra lume.
I mean, extra lume. It sounds like Christopher Ward is paying us, or they're sponsoring the show. I could assure you they're not.
Oh, no,
they're not even close. Not a single penny. We just honestly, the more I hear about Christopher Ward, the more excited I get about their watches and what they have in the future, and the fact that they help the world and the community. It's a brand I could stand behind, because I know my dollars are gonna go a long way.
Right.
They're gonna go out to maybe helping the oceans and helping people in under, you know, the stress situations like war and crazy things going on. So Christopher Ward, we applaud you. Mike, thank you so much again for coming on the show. And P. Ross, where can people find you?
Yo, you can find me. Yo, I am co-host of the SoCal Watch Reviews podcast. The greatest watch podcast out there. You know what I mean? So you could definitely find me here. And you're going to find me on SoCal Watch Reviews channel. You know what I mean?
He's you know what definitely I mean?
You
there.
Feel me? You feel what I'm saying? There. You feel what I'm saying? You can catch me at Ross Wristwatch Love on Instagram, on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? We dropping jewels all the time. Check out our videos. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the watch community, to the watch fam. Shout out to everybody, even our haters.
Especially our haters. You make us better. SoCal Watch Reviews for me on Instagram and on YouTube. Relojeando for all my Spanish speakers.
Relojeando. I got you, boy. Got you. See that?
Close, but no cigar. P. Yeah, we need to work on your Spanish.
I'm trying, bro. Shoot.
Just kidding, man. But anyway, everybody, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. We got a special guest coming next week, and the week after that, and the week after that, and we're on a roll. We're on a roll, and definitely. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Take care. Stay humble.